welcome everyone to 2021. This is Gentian's New Year's Rockin' Eve. Wait, I'm sorry. That was a few days ago. I'm sorry, we held that one before. I want to welcome you to 2021. I want to also change the name. This is Gentian's Biweekly Update. I want to change it to that because really what we're doing is we're designing to keep this something that keeps you informed about the issues and items in our thinking, both on your planning and your living. So I'm going to change this to keep you informed and up to date about our thinking about your planning and living. So we're going to call this the Gentian Biweekly Update. It's going to be critical to those who want to watch and know what our thinking is on a consistent basis. And just a great way to keep that. We're going to try to keep it to 30 minutes for you as well. But really, I want to welcome you to 2021. I'm going to say this, a lot will happen. We don't know what it is, but we will be here prepared to help you with whatever it is. So I want to bring that to you. I want to say that as well. We want to make this a bit more interactive. So if you have a question, some of you guys accidentally raise your hand during the program and we'll see it. But what we want to do is we're going to look at some questions along the way. If you have something or a question, feel free to raise it. We may not answer it on the webinar. We'll follow up afterward if we don't. But we may raise something that we can look up quick and answer for you as well. We want to make it interactive and beneficial to you too. So again, what I want to do is going big. I want to go big really quickly here for myself, and then we're going to go to housekeeping with Lisa here. But going big for me this year is really about, I'm looking forward to doing some travel. Now, I don't know if it's going to be this year. I'm not putting an end date on it, but I look forward to that. I also look forward to seeing you guys. So my go big is I appreciate seeing family. I appreciate getting a chance to realize that, and now to appreciate the things I really want to do once we're over this. More importantly, also the things I'm really not concerned that I ever do again. So for me, that's my case. How about yourself, Ken?
Yeah, my go big is Happy New Year, everybody on the phone call today. Great to be with you as usual. And my go big is another year to serve you. I'm very humbly, rewarded that you allow us to serve you year in and year out. And so I'm absolutely grateful for that. 2021 is going to be great. We're all looking forward to it. So anything big or small that you have questions on, we'll reach out to you. You reach out to us, and together we will do the planning together for you in 2021.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. How about yourself, Zach?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I'm extremely grateful for another great holiday season, spending it with family. It's just a very special time for my parents and I. And also for those of you that don't know, and those of you that do know, I am very big into running with a very large race coming up. And one of the best Christmas gifts I could have gotten was a -degree day on Christmas Day. So that's the first time in my life I've ever said that, but it was an incredible gift for me. So I'm very grateful for that. And also the big snowstorm last week was great as well. And looking forward to not necessarily 2021, but just looking forward in general, like Chris mentioned, was a gift to my parents this year that I gave them was a map of all the national parks in the entire United States. We went to Yellowstone for our first family vacation last year. And so trying to knock down a few more. So when it's safe, whether that's this year, whether it's soon or in the future, just really looking forward to that as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Zach. Lisa, how about yourself? Maybe your go big and then housekeeping, if you may.
All right, good morning, everybody. And first and foremost, Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. I know it's a little bit different this year, but still, I'm sure it was great still to spend time with some family, whether it was via Zoom like we are now. But Happy New Year. And my go big was Chris allowed me to take off, even though I do normally go back to England. This year, I couldn't do that due to everything, but I still ended up taking off the week between Christmas and New Year. So it was very nice to spend time just relaxing and with family and enjoying the beautiful weather that we had over the holidays, which was sometimes unusual, getting snow on Christmas Eve. So that was very, very pretty. So that's very special. So that's my go big. And I will continue with some housekeeping items that we do have. We as Gentian, we're going to be optimizing our communication with you, the clients, our family. So please watch for the launch of our Gentian monthly bulletin today. We will be sending one out today. Here is where you can find out all of this month's happenings, including the Wednesday webinars, the women's group gatherings, our quarterly newsletter information, holiday and office announcements, seasonal forums, and our health and wealth series will continue this year, as well as our true wealth discovery journey. And that's something we started last year, so we're going to be continuing with that. And also, if you would like any of this information to be available to your family and friends, just let us know and we can definitely share that with them. As Chris said, if you do have and want to participate in any of these webinars, please don't hesitate to type a question or suggest a topic, and one of our team members will be happy to answer. So also, it's first quarter, it's that review time, everybody. So please watch for an email. As you saw last year, we're now using Calendly, so please use that to schedule your review. Also, we have some important dates coming up. So just wanted to go over those with you. The most important one of the year is Mr. Doughty's birthday on Friday. Happy birthday, Chris. So that's a good one. So this Friday, he will be 81, no, I mean 51.
41.
So also on Wednesday, January the 13th, we have limited office hours due to our professional development day that we do take part of. So, but we will let you know. And if you call in, we definitely will have someone get back to you. Monday, January the 18th, it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day and the office will be closed. Again, you still can contact Raymond James, but we will get back to you possibly the next day. Wednesday, January the 20th is the Wednesday webinar at 11 a.m. Wednesday, January the 27th is our Gentian Women's Group. And Wednesday, February the 3rd is the Winter Forum, and that's the market update and special session on technology, which is one of our favorite ones. And I know it's one of your favorites. So with all that, I will take it back to Chris. And again, Happy New Year, everyone. Glad to see everybody on here.
Thank you, Lisa. And I forgot to tell you before she came on to bring out your British to English dictionary translations so you could understand some of the words she says. Because we love it, we appreciate it. Thank you, Lisa. It's always great having her around here as well. So it's an interesting point. So last year, 2020, rang in an incredible year. I turned 50, which for me was a big item, it seemed like, and we didn't celebrate right then. We were actually going to do some celebrations mid-year, and you obviously know what happened with COVID. I also was married for 20 years, probably the single. I'm not too concerned about turning 50, but I was very, very, very celebratory and enjoyed being married to my wonderful spouse, Deb, for 20 years. We've been together for 29 or so as well. So we've been over half of our lives, almost 60% of our lives together. And the beautiful thing about that is to watch that relationship grow closer and more important as we age together. It's a beautiful thing that I really appreciate. So of the things to celebrate for me for 2021 or for 2020 personally, that was a huge, huge part of it. And the weird thing is we really had no celebrations to do. We didn't have a big party. We didn't have a lot of that stuff. We didn't go on a big trip. And that's okay. We actually were minding what was happening, and we'll celebrate those items some other time. But I thought it was it was also a great year to focus on what's important for me as well. Well, you know, also, I like to start with something funny as well. You know, and I think this is kind of interesting. They say that if you look right now, there's a bunch of babies being born, and it's been about 9 months, maybe almost 10 months since COVID came out. So we have a new generation. They're going to be, I think, you know, babies that were born. We're not quite sure what to call them, but we know in about maybe 13 years or so, we're going to call them quarantines. So that's what we have coming with it as well. So we've got the quarantine generation coming. There's a new one. You know, we got millennials. That's not much fun, but this will be one we'll always remember. So a couple others, what I really like to do is, you know, and this kind of goes along with what I think a lot of what's happening economically are. What kind of drink is both bitter and sweet? Reality. So as you look at that, that actually leads us into what we talk about here quite a bit. But before I go on to that, one thing when I try to tell a joke and I really, you know, and having trouble, I love to fall back on elevator jokes. And for me, it's because they work on so many levels. Anyway, I'll start with the dad jokes. I think that's quite fun. But for many of you, it's a perennial time of year. And for me, this is what's going on right now. We're really at the time where the professional prognosticators begin to predict the unpredictable, and then are held just about as accountable as the weather person. So you're going to see them. We're going to see them. I actually smile and laugh now when I start to get them and see them. I'm thinking, oh, here's what's going to happen in 2021. I'm like, how silly could you be thinking that you're going to predict the unknown? Because nobody, when they did it in 2020, predicted what happened. So interestingly, as I go through, that's funny, but it's also the perennial time for those dramatic doomsayers to begin to predict the end of the world or the market as we know it for whatever reason they want. I'm talking things like this Asian, this guy, this person, this over here, this system, it's the end of the, and this is going to happen next time. People also predicting there's going to be a 20% correction before it goes to 4,500 on the S&P. I'm going to make a prediction. The market's going to go up or down. We're going to be here for you. We're going to help you get through that. That's all you really need to be prepared for. Stick with your plan. The plan is designed to get through these times. So I know a lot of people like to try to, jet in and out of this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And Ken's going to talk a little bit about what's going on today as well in some of the markets and planning, and so will Zach. So I won't go too far into that. But 2021, we want to make 2021 better communication to you. We want to be prepared for you. More importantly, what we realize is 2020 was such a great year. We're going to encapsulate it, making it a learning history, a piece that you, more importantly too, your entire family can use. Whether they're with us or not, we're not concerned. We want to get this information out to them. We want to give them the synopsis of the perennial items, the John Wooden and the Vince Lombardi type items that are fundamentals. 2020 was a fundamental year on many cases for learning, sticking with the plan, not jumping out, not trying to time it. There was all sorts of incredible things about it, but we're going to give a few of those to you, but we would like to offer those to you in a way that you can have your children and grandchildren learn from it to become part of being a great investor like you. So that's a big commitment we have to you this year as well. And early on, we're going to talk more about it. Please reach out if you'd like us to send that. And we're going to start asking some questions. How can we send this? We're going to create an email list. There's no obligation. We're not going to call them. But remember, we're always here to answer yours and their questions. Most importantly, we know they have questions, but they may not have somebody like us. Since they're connected to you, they do. They have Zach, they have Peter, they have Ken, they have our whole team here. They have me. So these are the things we want to offer you in 2020 as we go through, or 2021 as we go through. Also, we're going to start making 21 about you as well. We got a couple things, for instance, we're doing. Like we're looking at a couple of travel groups. So we have a lot of clients. I'm not sure, it's winter in Wisconsin here. And that always brings up this issue, probably with most of you, that, boy, should I go south or should I not? So Texas, Arizona, Florida, we've got clients who've been going there. Some live there permanently, some live there part-time. But we have a lot of people with questions about that when they're thinking about retiring. So we actually have a great idea that Ken brought up, and we've talked about it often, is let's start travel groups, a group about should I live in the South? I've got a liaison for somebody who's talking about Arizona. We're going to find a liaison for Florida. We're going to find a liaison for Texas so that you have a point of contact. We can give you information about those. We want to collect it from you as well, saying, hey, Sun City West is great. Hey, the Villages in Florida is great. Or, Dallas, Texas is awesome. So we want to talk about whatever these places are for you and give you that if you're interested. So we know they're interested. That's going to be on the live it side of the equation. Don't get us wrong. I still am 100% dedicated to the planning, to all the technical aspects of what it is you do. I know I talk about the living quite a bit, but I want to make sure you understand. I'm still a master elite advisor for 11 years with Ed Slott. I still study this stuff. I study perspective of financial history. I'm reading books about it right now. We're looking at this kind of stuff on a consistent basis. I've got a book right now about the bourgeois financial deal in the 1840s. Tell me why you'd want to know that. You will, but I'll put it in terms that you'd actually be interested in versus what they're talking about. So there's some very interesting pieces here as well that we continue to do, and we commit to continue to bring ourselves up and to be better for you in the best format that we can find. So really this year, I think Ken mentioned last time, is we want to know what you need from us. We want to know, we're going to reach out to you more on that. We're going to ask you some questions about that. So thank you tremendously for your dedication to us, for your trust in us. We really appreciate it. And our goal really here as a team and our culture is to get better for you. So I want to give you that for 2021. Also, what are we doing here at Gentian to prepare for 2021? So with the snow on the ground, we're actually laying the groundwork right now to have 2 monitors put outside that are visible in the sun, that we can meet with you when March or April comes around with heaters and outside face to face. We miss you. We miss seeing you. We want to get together with you. So we're actually saying, how can we use this property that we have in a way that we can be super safe for those who want to be outdoors, have monitors, have some protection from that, and be able to see each other again face to face. So we're putting the plans together. We're working on it right now. So we're prepared when that time is ready. We're not going to wait until May to do it. We're going to be preparing ourselves and getting that done through March and April. So we're ready as soon as we can. Anyway, I want to make sure that you know that because we're really excited about seeing you guys again, and we appreciate it as well. There's an interesting thing, and I want to talk about this, and I'm going to lead over to Zach in a second. But one thing that's about this, fear. I talked about fear a lot last year, and we learned a lot about fear. Fear actually goes 2 ways. There's fear about a loss, and then there's fear about missing out. How many of you have experienced both in the last year? Think about that. Let me raise my hand. I'm human. I experience it. I just want to make sure we know that. Oh, somebody bought this and this and this, and oh, should I be investing in the blue stuff now? Should I be investing in the red stuff? Should I be investing in, renewable energy? You know what? Those are all great questions with play money. But with your core boring tortoise money, we want to continue to be what's perennial and what's right for the long-term plan. Okay, so that's a big portion of what we want to do as well. Before I actually now, if you'd like, I'd like to pass this over to Zach and his wonderful update on what's happening with the markets and his full prediction of exactly what's going to happen in 2021.
Exactly right. Thank you, Chris. And since I do have those exact predictions, I'm probably going to be giving the next webinar on a beach somewhere. So we'll be making a lot of money off of that prediction. But no,
love it.
Thank you, Chris. Three of the biggest learnings today from the market side of things is diversification, beware of trends and speculation, and stay the course. Sound familiar? Those come up very often, but especially with the things we're talking about today. From Raymond James Research, they gave us a great piece to end the year. It was about 40 pages long, and I only took about 1 or 2 from there for you to save you a bunch of time. And the biggest one starting out, looking back on 2020, we had the fastest 30% decline in market history. Over a 22-day time frame, the market dropped 30%. The next closest was in 1929, leading into the Great Depression. That was 31 days. The next closest after that was 1987, and that was 38 days. That's what we made it through last year. Worst first quarter return in the last 20 years. Second quarter was the best quarterly return since the fourth quarter of 1998. The one quarter after the worst quarter was the best in the last 20 years. The best and the worst quarter for GDP growth, annualized quarter over quarter, happened in 2020, the best and the worst GDP. November, as you remember from our last couple webinars, was the best monthly returns for small caps since they tracked it in 1984, and one of the best months in November as well for global and emerging markets. And the US stock market, as all of you know, has hit new highs during that time frame as well. One thing I wanted to share with you guys, based off of what happened last year too, we all know what happened in March. We had the quickest 30% decline, and just a few of the market indexes from declines from a pre-pandemic high to their low. The S&P was down 35.4% at one point. The Dow Jones was down 38.4% at one point. Mid caps, represented by the S&P Mid Cap 400, was down 44%, and S&P Small Cap 600 was down 47.5%. Those are massive temporary declines. But what has come out of the recovery from the bottom, the S&P Mid Cap 400 up 94.4%, Small Cap 93.4%. The S&P 500, 75.4, and the Dow Jones, 66.4% recovery. Why we share that is just, if we were to have sacrificed our long-term plan because of the worst first quarter over the last 20 years, we would have missed out on almost 100% return in some of the categories. So that's where the diversification and keeping the long-term focus comes in. The second point, beware of trends and speculation. Chris mentioned those, the fear of loss and the fear of missing out. We're starting to hear more and more, and it never really ends or feels like it ends. In 2018, it was North Korea, it was the China trade war. In 2019, it was something else with the election, and other things are going on. In 2020, we all know what happened as well. So it seems like it never ends. And right now, the most common one is, if Democrats take control, if this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Taxes are going to go up, green companies are going to do well. All these things, all these different things are going to happen. And so just keep in mind of the trends that are coming, and we don't ever want to jeopardize your long-term plan for you and your family based off of speculation or a trend of some sort. Some other ones that we're hearing about is the second wave, or potentially even a 10th wave, if you watch it closely, of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Has gone from 20,000 back to 5,000 to 10,000 to up to 35,000 now. And it potentially could be a huge form of currency in the future, but right now it's speculation, it's price movement. So same thing with cannabis stocks, came up very much in 2018, 2017, starting to resurface again based off of Democrats getting in. But again, we don't want to sacrifice your long-term plan based off of speculations or trends. And that's just all of the things we mentioned is just a huge congratulations to you for staying the course. One of the quickest market declines ever and the quickest 30% drop, and we made it through. And so an empowering question that I'll leave you with that Chris really did a great job of bringing up to our team throughout 2020 and really reflecting back on 2020 is, what learning can you pull from 2020? That can be your finances, your investments, your financial plan, or personally. Did you take advantage of this crisis? If so, how did you do that? If you feel like you didn't, how can you reflect on it now, looking forward to 2021? And potentially most importantly, and my favorite thing that I received from you, teammates here, and just really anyone, is the wisdom from it. So how can you turn those learnings into wisdom to share with a loved one, to a family member, or to someone in your community as well? And how can that be a staple of you and your family moving forward?
Thank you, Zach. Awesome. I appreciate that. You know, one thing, this is another fundamental piece. It's a Vince Lombardi, it's a John Wooden moment, but markets hate uncertainty. Markets love resolution. So you'll notice what that correlates very much with what Ken's going to say and what Zach said is, so we didn't know about an election. When there's a result of any kind, we move forward. We didn't know about an election yesterday. There's a result today. Again, this is something that's perennial. I don't mean to mix politics with investments, and be very, very careful not to mix your politics with your investment decision, especially your plan for retirement. So keep the two separate. Anyway, I just want to make sure that was one piece. How about Ken? I know there's some phenomenal things of planning, if you will. Why don't you share some of your, enlighten us with some wisdom of planning, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. So in the interest of time, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. I know we have about 5 minutes left. So everyone's talking about predictions. I'm actually going to save my predictions until our very last webinar in 2021. I'll give you my predictions for the year at that point in time. So
good idea.
Yeah, as you can see my background there, that's Gentian Financial in the wintertime. And our team is in that building, but you know who's missing? You are. We want you back as soon as we can, as soon as we're all safe to do so. I know a lot of people are talking about the vaccine. I talked to a client down in Florida yesterday. In the two most populated counties with 65 and older people that live in there, what's happening there is there's actually a server. So I don't know how this is going to be distributed around the nation, but this is how it's being done in Florida based on what she told me yesterday, is that 65 and older people are first in line basically, and there's a server you go onto, which crashed the other day because there were so many people trying to get on there. But once you are on there, you're able to schedule an appointment, and those appointments are ironically taking place at Raymond James Stadium down in Florida. So I thought that was pretty cool. There was a little connection there with Raymond James and how that stadium is being used to help facilitate the vaccine for people that want it.
Nice.
So some things that have changed and are staying the same this year, the Secure Act and the CARES Act, those are two that got interchanged last year. Things that will stay the same this year, are the new rule of the age 72 required minimum distribution. At age 72, you have to take money out of your IRA. That is an IRS rule. It used to be 70 and a half, now it's 72. 70 and a half for qualified charitable distributions have always been the case, even with the new laws that are being introduced. That means that that's giving your money, in IRA money, to charity, basically. That's qualified charitable distributions. You have to be 70 and a half and older for that. Inherited IRA payouts. It used to be life expectancy. This year it's 10 years. It will be 10 years until the laws change on that. 10-year payout. For those who inherited an IRA before 2020, still the life expectancy, not the 10-year payout. So that's something we're tracking. On your statements, you might see pre-2020 or post-2020 on your account title on an inherited IRA. That's what we're tracking there to make sure that we understand which rules to use for you when we're taking and helping you get money out of your IRAs that the IRS says that we have to do so. There will be things that were a one-time change, basically, was the RMD waiver, the required minimum distribution waiver for 2020. That is back in effect for 2021, not the waiver part, but the taking of the RMD. You have to take the RMD out, okay? The corona-related distributions, that was a one-time thing in 2020. That's no longer in 2021. So RMDs are back in play in 2021. We'll help you plan for that as well. New in 2022, you heard it here first, the IRS has a new life expectancy table that they've already created. Based on my sources and Ed Slott and things of that nature, they're not going to roll it out to 2022. So next year, we're going to have new life expectancy tables for those required minimum distributions, most likely. We will keep you up to date, but we are tracking those very, very closely for your benefit there. So I want to touch on a few things as far as what is changing in the world of planning. I'm going to make this quick because I know that we are running pretty close to the time frame here. So contributions, we get these questions all the time. You can see here, I'm going to annotate on my screen just a little bit here with the blue draw, with the blue marker here. Contributions for 401ks right up here on the top right. You can see that they're staying the same for 2021. 19,500 if you're under 50. If you're older, 50 and older, you have a catch-up provision of 6,500. You, the employee, can put away $26,000 if you want to in your 401k. That is not including company match, by the way. Okay, so we have that piece there. The IRAs, 6,000 for 50 years and or under 50, 7,000 for 50 and older. We have that down there. There's some phase outs that happen there as well. Taxes, I'm going to predict taxes. Taxes are going to go, I don't know if they're going up or down, but here are the 2021 tax planning rates. This is something we really focus on with you. We don't want to do your taxes, but we want to give you some planning ideas around that. But when you look at the tax rates, these are very, very important rates that we're looking at for you, okay? Whether we're in the 12% bracket or the 22% bracket, those are the things that we're looking at for you when we talk about Roth conversion planning. We talk about taxes on Social Security and things of that nature. Those all interplay in all that. Health savings account, here's a good one. I'm going to annotate a little bit as well so you can see where I'm at. There is the contribution rates down here for 2021, as far as if you have a single plan and you're under 50, or if you have a single plan and you're older 50, you can see what that looks like there. Okay, for family plans, it's $7,200. And if you're older, 55 and older, it's $8,200. So that's a good piece there to be looking for. Again, we'll help you with that. We know we're going pretty quick right here. Social Security here. Well, we get a lot of questions on Social Security. If you are still working and making money, you have to be careful of what's taxable to you as far as Social Security tax goes. It was 137 as far as earnings go last year. Now it's up to 142. Some people call that the stealth tax, but that's really what that looks like there. If you are going to start collecting Social Security, we have to understand, if you're collecting Social Security before full retirement age, we need to understand what your income is going to be looking like. Because if you make more than the $18,960 for 2021, well, benefits can be reduced, if you will. Not talking about taxes, but benefits can be reduced if you're making too much money if you're under full retirement age. I wanted to bring that to your attention as well. And lastly, Medicare, this is a big one. We get questions on this one all the time. I'm just going to hit some highlights here, but for 2021, it's $148.50 per month, which is Part B. If you're taking Social Security, that actually comes automatically off of your Social Security check that you see there. There's other pieces as far as income goes. We have to be careful about IRMA rules and things of that nature. But those are some of the highlights of the planning numbers, if you will, that we're really in tune with for 2021 for you. I'll hand it back over to Chris.
Thank you, Ken. That's all we have. Good night. I'm sorry, we ran over a little bit, but that's okay. It's first one of the year. We'll give ourselves a little exemption here. And I think it's something you should do this year as well. Give yourself a little bit of a breathing room and forgiveness for what happened in 2020. One thing, we're going to send out some of these numbers soon. So we're going to put some of these together, send some of those numbers out. That's something we're working on right now. Probably later this week, beginning of next week, we'll get you some of those numbers. There's some great sources for it. And we'll go over them in more detail in our late January, early February forum that we do for you as well. When I come back from Abundance 360, which this year, by the way, is online. Kind of ironic that our Abundance 360 technology group is online. By the way, until last week, they planned on having it live and in person. I wasn't going to go, but they decided all the doctors and ranches in California wouldn't let people in from around the world. So I guess that was kind of the part that thwarted it, when half of the group comes from other countries and they can't get in. It's really not the same environment. So we'll see. One thing you can't do is build culture over Zoom, but it will be Zoom. And actually, we're going to be doing it via Oculus Quest headset as well. So we're going to be in virtual reality with other people as avatars. It'll be interesting. I'll keep you updated. It's going to be a really cool piece here. But I want to give you something too. We were talking before, and I have a great book about memory, but I'm going to have to send you a reminder for it. I get it anyway. I like that. We'll end with that one as far as the jokes, if you will. But one thing I want to say, so I used to like to enter 2021. I enter every year with a lot of caution. My socks even show it. So you see that? Those are the caution tape. We enter every year with caution because we don't know what's going to happen. What I want to talk about, though, is the opposite side of that equation of caution. While we cowered in fear as a nation generally in 2020, guess what entrepreneurs did? They continued to work feverishly to provide us with a better life on the vaccine, on biomedical changes. And I think it's very interesting. Some of the future things we saw, and this was just recent, the FAA just approved drone flight for delivery across America on certain areas at nighttime to deliver goods to you from stores. We've been talking about it, hearing about it. Now the FAA has gotten involved and actually put regulation on it about it as well. We've got satellites going to the moon. We've got our astronauts eating radishes that were grown only in space. I mean, this is crazy new stuff. They're putting robots on the moon. The UK is going to have roving robots on the moon. I'm going to start at the very end of this program. I'm going to give you a 3-minute video that I want you to do. It's called NASA's 2021 Hype Video. It's really cool to see. It kind of gives you some pride. It's kind of like when we were going to the moon before. We're rediscovering the moon. We've been there once. Now we're going to rediscover it. It's very cool to see in this space race 2.0, if you will. Some of the things as well, though, across the way are blockchain for your driver's license. So your driver's license being actually on blockchain. They've got funding to potentially do this as well. Unbelievable things have occurred in 2020, of which we're not going to see the commercialization of the benefit of some of them for many years. It's like a tree. You have to take care of the roots of the tree, and entrepreneurs are doing it to eventually have great fruit that comes from that tree. We all know it. That's what they were doing during this time. They redoubled their efforts. They are doing incredible things, and the speed at which things are going to happen are going to astound all of us. So I wanted to tell you that as well. It's kind of an interesting thing. I was watching this and I heard this. There was a conversation between a pessimist and an optimist. And then there was a third party as well. And while the pessimist and the optimist were arguing about the glass being half full, you remember you've heard that before. Is it half empty? Is it half full? Guess what the opportunist did? They drank it. So you think about that. There's always 2 ways, maybe 3 ways to look at a problem. We like to be the opportunist for you. We like to be the one that takes advantage of what happens in your benefit. So I wanted to bring that to you. And while wealth management is what we do, guiding you through adversity is who we are. And this is interesting. This is new. We are committed to helping you both plan and live your retirement to your best. So thank you for the team. On behalf of the team here at Gentian, we look forward to 2021 with you. And until next week, stay safe, positive, and be grateful, but don't go away yet. If you look at this and what's going on, the care, the exploration, the things that are happening, they're all looking to make a better life for us. That's the kind of stuff that we have to look forward to. The exponential increase in time. Remember, the only thing that we're actually going to find that's going to be constant is the rate of increasing change and the VUCA world we're in. Again, we're here to keep you both informed, to care for you, to help you plan, and to help you live a great life in retirement. Again, for this week, in the first weekly update or bi-weekly update of the year from Gentian,